chances are you're overpaying.
Many random animals wieners. Did that man suck before discovering milk? Was that man a genius or a pervert? Random animal wieners. 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 Random animal wieners.
I'm Matt, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Maple Pepper Bacon.
I've got a serious conundrum that I can't quite shake. One of life's eternal questions that I need to break. Is it the size? I've got a serious conundrum that I can't quite shake. One of life's eternal questions that I need to break. Is it the size? Is it the thing itself? Or the concept or the intent? I cannot sleep until I know. Tell me, when does a glory hole become a glory hole? I need to know. When does a glory hole become a glory hole? I need to know. Is it any hole that was already in existence, but with a slum through it, it's now a glory hole? Or is it specifically only holes that were made, or with the sole purpose of a wang being goozled? I can't sleep until I know. Tell me, when does a glory hole become a glory hole? I need to know. When does a glory hole become a glory hole? I need to know. A pencil sharpener. No glory. Pringles tub. No glory. Ice donut. No glory. Shady men's room toilet door with a purposefully carved hole, suitable for one purpose only and perfectly sized. Glory hole, baby. Tell me, when does a glory hole become a glory hole? I need to know. When does a glory hole become a glory hole? Tell me, when does a glory hole become a glory hole? I need to know. When does a glory hole become a glory hole? I need to know.
Stem bug spray.
Well, 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 it's that time again. Just me and the boys, we're gonna raise hell tonight. Call me Macho Man. Randy Savage, we got Gordon Gekko. Henry Hill, the Wolf of Wall Street. And you can be Tony Montana.
I can't comment on 1980s cocaine. All the cocaine I did was 1990s cocaine. But I did a lot of it. And I guess, like, as far as like the standards, on the standards of cocaine quality, I guess it was good. Sounds weird to say.
Why? Why, bro? Stop! Don't fucking record me.
I told him to put my little niece on camera, bro. Hey, this is a prank, bro.
I'm quit, bro.
Damn, bro. This is a prank, bro.
Yeah, what you want to do, bro? What you want to do?
I want to see your chest.
What you want to do?
Yeah, no.
I don't know what happened. But that was wild. Yeah. So I ran across this earlier, and I watched about like 5 seconds of it, and just that 5 seconds, just that 5 seconds of. No, it was more than 5 seconds. It's probably a minute, but I got a minute in, and it's just like and I don't know if Filthy Phil here. Not saying Filthy Phil disparagingly. I'm saying Filthy Phil as in like Filthy Phil, Filthy Animal Taylor. Yeah, I don't know if he corrects it, but it's just so much shit. Knowing Phil, he does eventually point out the big problems, but I'm gonna check something. Huh. Shit got all dark. The hell's going on? There we go. Ah. We'll just go with white as bad as that is. Yellow. Oh. Yellow's not bad, but it's harsh on my eyes. Come on. Adjust camera. Do- Okay. Okay, now back to what I was doing. Because this I've got to opine on this shit. Because this killed me.
So let's talk about it. It was the most requested thing today. Let's talk about this. So let's talk about it. It was
Cody Rhodes. What do you want to talk about?
the most requested thing today. Let's talk about this Sketch situation, which if you don't know, Sketch is an incredibly popular streamer and online personality. I personally became aware of him because I just saw some hilarious clips of him playing Madden, just as a one-of-a-kind, weird, funny personality. And I definitely wasn't alone with that. Like, this guy and his catchphrases, they hit the mainstream.
What's up, brother? What's up, brother? Special teams, special plays, special players.
Right, and he has just continued to grow and grow over recent months. But seemingly out of nowhere, old footage gets leaked online showing him in adult OnlyFans content with other men. Right, and so initially a lot of the conversation was,
So that's my initial reaction. So okay. And what did he do?
is this real or not? With Sketch initially at this time getting a lot of hate online, people clowning on him. And as the situation is just growing and growing, Sketch actually goes on stream and he confirms it's him.
Okay, I'll start from the top. Look at this, open and honest. That was me. That was me. It's okay, though. 2 years ago, I did some stuff. I'm sorry if you've seen some of the stuff. You know, I'm a
Sorry for what?
changed person.
With Sketch,
Sorry for what? Changed from what?
then continuing on really only the way he could.
So 2 years ago, I did not have sexual relations with that man. I'm just kidding. I did. Possibly. Cat's out of the bag.
With him then going on to thank everyone that stuck by him, though saying if you're angry, he understands.
No. No. You shouldn't understand if anyone's angry because no one has any reason to be angry. There's nothing to be angry about. That's the whole thing that's driving me crazy and makes me sick. Makes me absolutely sick about this. Sorry for what? People angry over what? That he was getting laid and they're not? I can't think of any valid reason why anybody would be angry.
And saying that that content had happened at a tough and dark period in his life.
I was dealing with some addiction problems. A couple of them. But No excuse there. What, I guess.
but also saying that he's changed since then and he's not going to be making that kind of content again. Right? And a big meaningful
I mean, okay. I don't get it. Like, I was dealing with I don't like, so what? Like sex work? Is that what the apology is over? Sex work? Like he thinks he needs to apologize for dipping his toes in the water of being a sex worker? I don't I mean, it's my understanding he's an adult making adult decisions with another consenting adult. They're both consenting. I don't understand. I'm trying to wrap my head around what people would be angry about, what he needs to apologize for, what he feels he has to change from. Like, I'm no longer a sex worker. I'm just a regular streamer now. I mean, is that the but why apologize for sex work? I mean, and why connect that to addiction? Oh, I became a sex worker because of addiction. While some people do, that's not. It's like someone, oh, they became a nude model because of addiction. No, I mean, some people are just like nude models. Are there people out there who use sex work to fund their addiction? Yeah. But, I mean, who there's people who get jobs as lawyers to fund their addiction. There's people who who get jobs as clergy to fund their addiction. There's people who become cooks to fund their addiction. People who become politicians to fund their addiction. I mean, I'm lost on the anger and the apology and the change.
part of all this is, he noted that none of this has been easy. He's known the entire time that these videos were out there, they could resurface at any time. And actually with that, adding that in some ways it's like a weight's now off of his shoulders, that he no longer has to live with wondering, oh, is it gonna happen? But there, also saying
Plan A was, and I will say candidly, was to probably probably to call it quits if this ever came out. But some people saved me. Shout out Banks. Shout out my parents. Like, shout out y'all. Like, I fucked up, but I'm changed.
right there, noting that the people
I fucked up, but I'm changed. See, once again, I'm lost again. I mean, what? I don't get it.
people at the organization phase, especially Banks and his friends, they really helped him. And actually, on that note, right, not just supporting him privately. You had people like FaZe Banks saying, all the FaZe boys were with him last night. Sketch was my homie yesterday. He's my homie today. He'll be my homie tomorrow. And with that, we've seen a lot of last night. Sketch.
You didn't involve us in anything.
Was my homie yesterday. He's my homie today. He'll be my homie tomorrow. And with that, we've seen a lot of love and support out there for Sketch. Meanwhile, you had other massive creators in the space like Jacksepticeye saying, huge amount of respect for owning up to it and being real with everyone instead of letting the internet run rampant, but also adding he has nothing to apologize or feel bad for. He's a grown man who can do whatever he wants. I'm glad.
Fucking A. I fucking love Jack. My God, I would give you such a big sloppy wet kiss on the mouth, sir.
People were there for him to get him through it. Of course, the internet is the internet, and there is no shortage of people who just have vile and bizarre things to say. Right? Some have mocked the people who supported him.
He's genuinely one of the most genuine guys ever.
Oh my God. I just want to know why in the world anyone should or would care about the opinions of the absolute worst example of humanity in every way, shape, and form, emotionally, mentally, and physically. This is the absolute worst example of a human being. This is the don't become this warning side of the poster. I mean, just look at it, and I don't understand. Why do all skeezy people feel like they have to adopt the skeezy look? Because you got the skeezy try hard stash, the skeezy I wish I could grow real chin hair. I mean, why is it always the skis look? Why is it always, hey, here's the opinions of someone who looks like a stereotyped pimp from a 90s like procedural law cop drama. Like this guy was the perp in over half the episodes of NYPD Blue. I gotta go put my fork in the sink. I need I need someone to explain to me why everybody on Donald Trump's team looks like the man who ends up on trial on every episode of Law and Order SVU. And why does he look like the perp in every 90s cop drama?
No, he wasn't. No, he's not. He lied to you about his life.
What does that mean? Like, seriously. What does that mean? He lied to you about his life? Like, did he go around saying I'm not gay or bi or pan or whatever? Was there a point where somebody asked him, hey, did you ever have sex with a man? Have you ever had sex with a man? Would you ever have sex with a man? And he said no. Because if those two things don't exist, then he didn't lie to anyone about anything. Seriously. Like, oh, he lied to you about his life. How? How? He said he liked football and other sports, right? Okay, told the truth about that. He likes streaming, told the truth about that. He likes his followers and chatters, told the truth about that. He loves his friends, told the truth about that. I mean, what was it he lied about? Did someone come to him and say, "Hey, are you gay? Are you a little gay? Are you bi? Are you pan?" Did someone ask him that and he denied it? Because if that didn't happen, then no one lied about anything. Because here's the thing, and then I'm going to drop on every bigoted motherfucker out there. Every single bigoted motherfucker out there. And I'm going to prove that bigotry, prejudice, racism, all those times you heard that, like, these things, prejudice is directly connected to stupidity and ignorance. It's true. It's true. If you're bigoted and prejudiced, then that means you have a seriously low intellect. This guy is operating on the level of a fucking caveman. I swear to fucking God, okay? The only reason he is where he's at is because he's surrounded by morons and dirtbags who see themselves in him, okay? He's like, well, if this dirtbag can make it, I can make it, and I'm going to live my dirtbag life vicariously through his dirtbag life. But here's the thing. So you've got a friend that you've never seen in a relationship. You've never seen them hanging out with anyone in relationship terms. You know, as far as you know, they're still a virgin, right? And then all of a sudden one day you see pictures of them making out with a girl. You find out there's a video of them online having sex with a woman. Are you going to scream, "Oh my God. Oh my God, they lied to us. Look at them. They lied to us. They lived a lie. I'm so angry that they didn't tell me." No, that's not going to happen. No, this confirmed perv. Because this dude defends Dr. Disrespect, right? So he's okay. He's okay with like 40-year-old men sexting with like underage girls. But, you know, hey, this guy didn't come out and advertise to the world that he was gay. He didn't share his sex life with me, therefore he lived a lie. Yeah, that's how perverts think. Perverts think that they belong in every bedroom. That's how his mind, I guarantee you, it's a matter of time before this guy catches a ton of SA charges and who knows what else. This guy, I guarantee fucking to you, I promise you his browser history is tragic as fuck. I guarantee you his browser history is like 100 fucking felonies a day. Because that's how their minds work. Why else would he be so obsessed with being in everyone's bed? Why would he think he belongs in everyone's bed, judging what everyone is doing in their bed and coming up with these completely illogical like trains of thought? Oh, well, he didn't come tell me all about his sex every day, therefore he lived a lie. No. If like, I mean, but the thing is if a heterosexual dude came forward, he would not say, "Oh my God, he lived a lie," but he would still insist that he should be allowed in that bedroom to opine and comment on everything that happens in that bedroom because this dude is a pervert projecting on everyone else.
Acting like it was like a long 2 years ago. He was taking it up the. If my friend was doing that, I'm sorry, we're not friends anymore.
Meanwhile,
You heard it there. See, it has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that the dude is possibly gay or bi or whatever. That Sketch is possibly gay or bi. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. But Sneeko also has to admit, but if you're trying to fuck underage girls, I'm totally cool with you. I want to hang out with you more and defend you. Sneeko's just upset that the girl wasn't texting him. All right. Situation taken care of.
While others saying stuff like,
You about his life. You're acting like it was like a long 2 years ago. He was taking it up the. If my friend was doing that, I'm sorry, we're not friends anymore.
meanwhile, others saying stuff like,
It's not about you being gay, gang. It's about you not telling nobody.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is, though. Yeah, it is. And this guy, I don't know who this stupid motherfucker is, but I tell you right now, I'm looking at his room and I'm telling you, he's another tragic dumbass, another great example of what not to be if you want to be a human being. Once again, the worst example of a human being, the absolute worst example of the worst parts of human beings. And this proves it. Look at this. Proves it. Dude, you're a fuck up and you're famous because the world is full of fuck ups who wish for something greater, wish they could better themselves, but they just can't because they're trashy fuck ups. So they find someone like you who's bold enough to make being a fuck up your entire personality and monetize being a fuck up. But the thing is there was this show back in the day called Real People. And on Real People, it would show clips and examples. Oh my God, I forgot to switch this over. I'm fucking up because this dude's got me all worked up. Yeah, as I was saying, this guy, it is about the dude being gay because, like, okay, there was this show called Real People back in the day. And on Real People, it showed examples of dumb people doing dumb shit. And they had the same issue that like Jackass had and like Candid Camera had, different shows like that. And these shows had issues because they had to, just like Jackass, don't submit videos of yourself doing dumb shit. We're not going to put it on the show. And like on Real People, people intentionally doing dumb shit that would endanger themselves and the people around them in hopes that it would get you on the show. And America's Funniest Home Videos had the same problem. That's why they had to start looking for the clips themselves, because people submitting the clips, it was people staging shit and doing shit on purpose. And it's like, and see, and that's what happens. People like Sneeko and this dude after him, those are the dudes that kept submitting those videos. And the videos didn't get accepted, so they took their shtick to whatever streaming platform they're on, and they do it there. Yeah, so as I was saying, places like Twitch and YouTube and Kick, especially Kick, become homes for the trash that these other shows had to keep saying, stop sending us your shitty videos. Stop doing this shit. So these guys took that behavior to these platforms, and then all the other shitheads who do things like that see this guy and go, oh, I'm just going to vicariously live through him.
Years ago, he was taking it up the. If my friend was doing that, I'm sorry, we're not friends anymore.
Y'all were never friends, though, because you're a dirtbag. You're a shithead. You've made being trash your entire existence, and all the other trashy people are invested in you. Without trash and trashy people, if streaming platforms like YouTube and Twitch had better standards, you wouldn't have a career, dude.
Meanwhile, others saying stuff like,
It's not about you being gay, gang. It's about you not telling nobody.
Okay. Spoken like someone who probably overshares their sex life, I guess. I mean, because, oh, he's going to say something about kids. Watch.
And hiding it and coming a whole different alias. You got kids that watch you, gang. My little brother watch you, bro.
Okay. So here's the thing. Because you didn't advertise your sex life to everybody and make it your whole personality. Oh, you were hiding things and I don't want my little brother to watch you. So you're saying that if he was talking about his sex life all the time, you'd be cool with it? I mean, what's the dynamic here? For real. What's the dynamic here? What's the standards? What's the stop? But yeah, I mean, what's the thing here? What's his standards? What's the purity test this guy is proposing? What's the purity test he wants? I mean, because he kept his private life private, because he kept his, you know, he didn't because he was not inappropriate. That means he was high. I mean, what is it? This dude is upset because he didn't get to hear stories and details. He's upset because he didn't get sent the link. I mean, because here's the thing. If this sketch dude had done an OnlyFans with a woman, would he have the same reaction? Would this piece of shit, this actual living, talking, breathing piece of shit, have the same reaction? Of course he wouldn't.
And I'm not allowing him to watch you no more. Y'all don't take it like this serious with kids. And that's why they end up gay at 11 years old.
Oh. There you have it. It's not about you being gay. It's about if kids watch your channel, they'll turn gay too, even though there's actually no sexual content on it. No sexual content on it. I mean, this dude was doing sports stuff, purely sports stuff on his channel, right? Purely sports stuff. So football turn you gay? Well, I mean, I guess it could, because you're showering with all these other muscular, beefy, hot men. You're all naked in the shower together, watching the water run off each other's peckers and down your ass cracks, you know. I mean, come on. Yeah, and then you're running around on the field in tights, and like look at that whole thing with where the quarterback's got to like fill the center's nuts up and like, oh, let me get some of that gooch, let me get some of those balls. I mean, you know, and then boxing, two grown men in their underwear fighting over a purse. Oh, and they're all sweaty and muscular and hunky. I guess that could turn you gay. Baseball, they got those legs and like, and doing all those like leg workouts for the running and all that makes your ass nice and round, give you that bubble butt. Be looking good out there on that field. They'll turn you gay. It's how this stream was turning people. That's how this sketch dude's stream was turning people gay by showing all the sports and how homoerotic sports are. Because it all comes down to sweaty, muscular men rubbing meat against each other, meat on meat. Gonna turn you gay because I don't see, but that's just it. That just shows like this dude has the fucking IQ of my shoe. No, I'm sorry, shoe. You were smarter than this piece of trash right here. My shoe is smarter than this piece of trash. It's not about you being gay. It's just about you being gay. Because if my little brother watches your stream, now that I know you're gay, that means he'll turn gay. We didn't know you were gay before. That's why everything was safe. But now that we know that you're gay, watching your stream is going to turn my little brother gay. I don't get that. Like, I don't understand. Like, these people think people turn gay. I mean, you know what it is? I guarantee you, this dude thinks about sucking cock all fucking day. He can't look at his friends without thinking about how tasty their cock would be in his mouth. And it drives him fucking nuts. And it makes him embarrassed and insecure. So he lashes out at everyone else.
Like this serious with kids. And that's why they end up gay at 11 years old.
And while those two brain-dead fuckfaces who have cultivated an audience of children who think they're smart and or adults who are also brain-dead fuckfaces.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're the motherfucker on stream grooming kids. You're the motherfucker on screen literally grooming kids. Literally grooming kids. You are on fucking stream all day long grooming kids. Watch this. This is how this works. That's how this works. Yeah, I know it probably won't. That's what is wrong with this dude anyway? Yeah.
Gay gang. It's about you not telling nobody and hiding it and coming a whole different alias. You got kids that watch you, gang. My little brother watch you, bro. And I'm not allowing him to watch you no more. Y'all don't take it like this serious with kids. And that's why they end up gay at 11 years old.
And while those two
doesn't
brain
make
dead
any
fuck
sense.
faces who
If
have
you're gay,
cultivated
you're
an audience
born-
of children who think they're smart
Pretty
and
sure
or
born
adults who
straight.
are also brain dead fuck faces, you know, they had some people cheer them.
I mean, honestly, that's why every single time somebody tries to come at me with that false equivalent. It's not even a false equivalence. What is it? It's just basic bigotry. But anytime somebody comes to me with that dumb shit, that trying to act like, yeah, and that's why your kid's gay at 11 years old, you know, like I always fire back at them. So at what age did you or your children decide they weren't going to be gay? Yeah, when you phrase the question like that, it adds a lot of perspective. Because see, you're acting like being gay is a choice. You're acting like someone becomes gay, gets turned gay, goes gay, decides to be gay, whatever, at some certain age. Well, if you're implying someone that chooses to be gay, then you're also saying that the opposite has to exist, that at some point in time, you chose not to be gay. That there was a possibility of you being gay, but then you decided you weren't gonna. Yeah, but see, that's just it. Prejudiced people, bigoted people, they're not intelligent enough to think anything through. They don't think. They just speak, they just type, but they don't think at all.
on. There was no shortage, right? There was tons and tons of people pushing back against that garbage. Right? Creators like XQC specifically talking about Bruce drop him off saying,
You act like you care when it's somebody being gay, or somebody kissing a dude, or somebody gambling, or somebody.
Creators like XQC specifically talking about Bruce drop him off saying,
You act like you care when it's somebody being gay, or somebody kissing a dude, or somebody gambling, or somebody being trans. Protect my children. If you cared about protecting children, you wouldn't do 80% of the you do on a daily basis on your stream. You don't care. And that's fine. I don't care either.
Yeah, you know what? I need to go straight to that dude's shit.
So everybody that's, oh yeah, he's still my man's. Of course he's still y'all. Go to the check, watch sketch VOD. Bro, thank you.
Here, Navy SEALs.
Trump campaign working with Firefest organizer Billy McFarland. Of course he is.
Either Just stop pretending!
Hassan Piker writing, Sketch should never feel shame for his past as long as his action never hurt a soul. Nothing about his private life that was leaked even remotely meets that standard. Shame on everyone that made fun of him and made him feel unwelcome. And Kai Cenat, one of the biggest streamers in the space, saying,
why does something that somebody else do get you so mad to the point where you gotta go on the internet and bully them, like, and say crazy shit? You would think that this murder somebody.
Yeah, personally, I have to say, Sketch has nothing to apologize for. Seemingly, he was an adult who didn't hurt anyone. He made a personal choice. It's not like he made that content, but he's known for saying that, like, gay people shouldn't have rights. He was just a guy going through some stuff, seemingly addicted, just trying to survive in life. And also, like, let's not forget, he was outed against his will in this situation. And I'm personally of the mindset of anyone that attacked him over this, they can go fuck themselves. And I mean that whether it be Joe Blow, bigoted Barry, to fucking Tyreek Hill or any fucking famous person. He tweeted, oh, Sketch done played y'all. Tyreek, if I was you, I'd watch myself. You're fast, but you're not faster than a Google search, you fucking woman beater.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, I fully support and believe in bullying bullies and bigots on the internet. Mm-hmm. Let's make sure we get it all.
Played y'all. Tyreek, if I was you, I'd watch myself. You're fast, but you're not faster than a Google search, you fucking woman beater. Personally, I care more about a
Mm-hmm.
piece of shit beaten a woman than if they fuck them. Tyreek, you're pregnant girl, that's who you put hands on? You got the conviction scrubbed after the fact, but that shit's still on your soul, huh? Meanwhile, you got some of these other motherfuckers out here who are LARPing a whole religion so they can use it as a shield, saying, oh, but see, Sketch was lying to us. Why, because he had this secret or this thing in his past that he knew that fuck faces like you were gonna use to attack him because you have an audience of bigoted fuckheads? Also, I mean, everyone can fucking get it today. I love how even some of the people who are defending Sketch are the same motherfuckers who I've seen in the past that were like, oh, when a girl has an OnlyFans, she's ruined forever. The same also asked that he knew that fuck faces like you were gonna use to attack him because you have an audience of bigoted fuckheads. Also, I mean, everyone can fucking get it today. I love how even some of the people who are defending Sketch are the same motherfuckers who I've seen in the past that were like, oh, when a girl has an OnlyFans, she's ruined forever. But not when it's your boy, that's when people are people. But also maybe with that group, like this can be a learning experience because something that you didn't relate to, now you can relate to because it happened to your friend. It can make you, I don't know, see a human being as a human being and be less shitty about them. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. And again, I don't think Sketch has anything to apologize for. I wish him the best. I'm very glad that he had good people around him that had his back because this industry and this space, it's so fucking stupid and people are so flippant. So it's good that someone was there for him. And well, yeah, there will always be hate and bigotry, and it seemingly is more on display than ever these days. I'm very glad that this situation also highlighted all the people standing up against that hate. Let's call that a silver lining to a situation that really should have never happened. But
yeah, exactly. And this is why I fucking love Philip DeFranco. And you know what makes Philip DeFranco even more special on this? And I'll even admit it myself. He used to be those people that he's speaking out against, and so did I. So did I. In my instance, it was even worse because it was self-loathing. Because of my environment filled with a lot of self-loathing and undeserved shame, insecurity. This is why I love Philip DeFranco, because he used to be like that same type of person. He's admitted it several times that, you know, he was a bad person and he used to engage in that type of online behavior, but he's changed it.
that said, while you're maybe leaving a comment about this first story or you're just sitting back trying to take it all in, I gotta say, hey, welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. It's of course your daily dive into the news, big and small, for better and worse. Which on that note, we got a lot to talk about today, starting with, everyone's been talking about hot girl summer this, rat boy summer that, brat summer there. But the real story is about those Millie minions. Right, because animated family movies are dominating the box office right now, starting with Despicable Me 4. With it over the holiday weekend opening to over $120 million at the box office and making another $100 million overseas. Awesome. In fact, with AMC saying that over the 4th of July holiday, 4.2 million people went to its theaters, largely thanks to Despicable Me. And the film also reportedly had strong merch sales, second only to what AMC saw for the Taylor.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I mean, also at the same time, expected, because it's all about trends and quality. You know, like you get good quality flicks. Get that mic up in your mug. What? Hit send. Yeah, if there's good quality films that'll start a trend, like a Despicable Me 4, you know, it's gonna make a trend. There's gonna be a trend. You're gonna see more of this. Just like if there's a disaster film, there'll be a trend, you know, that's successful. A bunch will follow. Always goes like that. A good scary movie, then you'll see a trend of horror. Are you watching? Are you watching my stream and messaging me on Facebook? Is that what's happening right now? What the hell? I tried watching the stream. It was extremely pixelated. I thought it was like a Cinderella thing.
Swift Eras Tour film. And this notably as it's not the only movie out there doing well right now, with Inside Out 2 also having been a massive success. In fact, it just became the 5th highest grossing animated film of all time, reaching a global total of $1.2 billion, which also, 1, makes it the highest grossing movie of the year, and 2, it has people going, hey, these films, it's marking the big rebound for the summer box office. Because as you might remember, back in May and early June, you had analysts saying, hey, this might be it. This whole season, maybe movie theaters in general, it could be a bust. But now you've got these 2 really big jolts, and one media analyst telling the LA Times, to see this total change in the box office shows how unpredictable the box office can be. All it takes is a few over performances with some great movies back to back to totally change the entire perception of the health of the movie theater and of movies in general. With the outlet also saying what's really promising about this big boost from 2 family films is that it could mean that it gets families into the habit of going back to the theater, which then could help other movies that are set to come out this year like Moana 2 and Wicked. Though I also think, it's worth noting that it's not just family-friendly films that have done well. The new A Quiet Place did really well. Also, if you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Different vibe than the first 2, but in a good way. But as far as if the successes of these movies, these are outliers, or if it's the beginning of a growing trend and hopefully a stronger box office, that remains to be seen. Though I will say, I just saw the trailer for Gladiator 2 come out today, and holy fuck, I cannot wait to watch that movie. Though also, in the more immediate future, I cannot wait to watch Long Legs. And then, who?
No, I don't care about Long Legs, but what? Why did I not hear? Huh? We gotta watch this, don't we? Oh, we do. Pedro Pascal? Fucking A, baby.
I remember that day. I never forgot it. That a slave could take revenge against an emperor.
Where were you born?
I don't know. I never forgot it.
Seriously, Lannister?
I remember that day. I never forgot it. That a slave could take revenge against an emperor.
Where were you born?
I don't know. I never knew a mother nor a father.
You will be my instrument.
Oh!
Who are you?
Denzel!
Did you hear that crowd? The greatest temple Rome ever built. The Colosseum. Because this is what they believe in. Power.
Oh my God.
General Acacius, there are victories yet still to come.
Rome has so many subjects.
Okay, we're gonna find out there's some like definite inbreeding, and that's like the fucking what do you call it? Like iron poor blood.
She must feed them.
They can eat war.
The arena turns slaves into gladiators, then gladiators into free men.
You have something in you. I knew it from the start.
Did you now?
Rage. That rage is your gift.
This is about survival! Survive! Hold together, and when the charges break for the wall.
Whose head could I give you that would satisfy this fury?
The entire Roman armies.
Too much?
The general will do.
Rome must fall.
Wow.
I need to only give it a push.
Make it out alive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Bloodstains the Colosseum doors.
This ring belonged to Maximus. Now I give it to you.
Well, Pedro Pascal's gonna be a bad guy.
But people are not free.
I was owned. Now I will control an empire.
I will not waste another generation of young men for their vanity.
Strength and honor! This our own creatures, heroes!
Tears on the mausoleum floor. Bloodstains the Colosseum doors. The gods have spoken!
So maybe it was makeup and. Whew. Oh my goodness. Whew. That's gonna be holy. Yep. Man, that's gonna be.
Who has not felt the cost of living in recent years? You know, a large number of people are falling further into debt. And then, y'all, hurricane season is officially here, and it is not fucking around. Because this week, Hurricane Beryl became the first big storm to make landfall in the US this year. And notably, that's only after it wreaked absolute havoc in the Caribbean, becoming the first Category 5 storm ever seen in the Atlantic Ocean in June, with it killing at least 10 people across the region there. And while yes, by the time that it slammed into Texas yesterday, it had actually been downgraded to a Category 1 hurricane, and it's further since been downgraded to a tropical storm, the impact that it is having is still massive, right? I mean, at least 8 people have died in the US so far, and as of this morning, more than 2 million people throughout Texas were still without power, with officials from cities like Galveston, for example, saying it could be as many as 2 weeks before electricity is restored. While that's a big deal pretty much any time of year, I mean, you're talking about millions of people right now without power, facing super high temperatures, with some areas hit hardest by the storm expected to feel like well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So we've actually had the National Weather Service issuing not only a heat advisory for the region, but also specifically talking about how the extreme heat is creating hazardous conditions for those working outdoors, like when you're cleaning up after the storm. And this is the heat wave the US has been facing has already shattered records, with nearly half the country under heat-related warnings today. Which also, I want to mention a key thing here. Heat is actually the deadliest form of extreme weather in the US, actually killing more than twice as many people each year as hurricanes and tornadoes combined. And actually, to that point, there's almost been as many heat-related deaths in the US in the past week as from Beryl. But also, Beryl can exacerbate other forms of extreme weather as well. Because even though the storm is weaker now, it has the potential to trigger more flooding and tornadoes as it continues on across the country. In fact, as many as 25 million people from Arkansas to Michigan were under flood watches today as Beryl moved northeast. And yesterday, hell, there
Earlier today, there was a tornado 30 minutes away from me, and it was close enough that we got this like huge fucking like storm burst out of left field off of it. it was, yeah, it was absolute. It was just out of nowhere. Just like boom.
Old Spice gentlemen.
Out of fucking nowhere. It was crazy. It really was. It was crazy.
Here with the
There were 110 tornado warnings across the country, the most on record for any.
Where I'm at, we're also currently under a tornado watch until 11. But yeah, got this huge storm burst out of nowhere, and it was like, holy crap! And I mean, it was just like boom, and then like I'm looking on Facebook and I'm seeing updates from the local weathermen or meteorologists rather, and they're showing pictures and video of a tornado that touched 30 minutes away from me and like jumped across the river because I live on a
Any July day, which, yay, fantastic. Just another thing on the list of records being broken. And all of this just being another example of how interconnected all this stuff is and how the real impacts of climate change are here.
And this is like the third or fourth tornado event in 2 months.
I mean, y'all, June was the 13th straight record-setting month in terms of global temperature. And it's these consistently high temperatures around the globe that have been part of the reason that scientists have been predicting a dangerous hurricane season for months now. Something that we're seeing with Beryl, but also something that unfortunately is not going to end with Beryl. All of which gives us yet another reason to just brace for the coming months. As if there wasn't already enough going on. And then we should talk about Oren and Tal Alexander, who many of you probably don't know, but they are some of the biggest names in real estate. Or like, for example, in 2019, they brokered the sale of a roughly $240 million New York apartment to a hedge fund manager by the name of Ken Griffin. That deal still holds the record as the most expensive home ever sold in the US. And besides that, their clients have reportedly included the likes of Kanye West, DJ Khaled, and The Weeknd. But these two kind of known for trying to live like celebrities as well. They're flying around the world in private jets, hosting lavish parties, making appearances at big events like the World Cup and the Super Bowl. But they're in the news today not because they're, launching some reality show, but instead it's because Oren, Tal, and their other brother, Alon, they're facing allegations of rape and sexual assault. Allegations that are now reportedly being investigated by the FBI, at least according to the Wall Street Journal, which spoke with people familiar with the matter and viewed some sort of related document. And specifically, the journal's reporting found that agents from an FBI task force on child exploitation and sex trafficking have been talking to women who say they've experienced or witnessed sexual assault by the three brothers. And a key thing here is that all of this is coming out after the brothers have been accused of sexual assaults in civil lawsuits filed just this year by multiple different women. Right, in March, a pair of lawsuits filed by two women alleged sexual assaults by Oren and Alon dating back to 2010 and 2012. And last month, another woman alleged that she was raped by both Tal and Alon together while Oren watched. And then, on top of all that, 5 additional women told the journal that they were sexually assaulted or raped by Oren. Not to mention that the attorney for the two women in the March lawsuits said that he's been approached by more than 24 additional women since then, with many of them being young models who had been in the brothers' social circle but didn't report their alleged assaults to police because they had willingly gone on dates and parties with the brothers. And so actually a massive thing with this is that the FBI is reportedly not just looking into these existing allegations that go back decades, they're also looking all over the country to identify other potential witnesses or possible victims. Now, of course, with all of this, while the allegations are piling up, they are, as of now, just allegations. While the FBI looking into them certainly raises the stakes, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will result in criminal charge. And actually with that, the brothers have denied everything, with one of their attorneys also saying that she and her clients were unaware of any federal probe, and going on further to say that they are unaware of any basis for an FBI inquiry at all. But for now, we'll have to wait to see what happens, both from the investigation, but also since this has been getting more and more attention, if more allegations come out. And then Let's talk about all the emerging questions and the reports around Mohammed Bonesaw's next venture into sports. Because he's been throwing billions and billions of dollars of oil money around, and now he's looking at a total takeover of professional boxing as we know. Because like we talked about for a while now, Saudi Arabia is rapidly growing dominant in the global sporting economy, with the country just continuing to pump more and more money into a wide range of different events. And of course, with that coverage, there's always the conversation about sports washing, or the idea that Saudi Arabia is using sports investments to improve its reputation and distract from the fact that it's an autocracy with a shitty record. And several months back, we did a deep dive into how these unprecedented investments go way beyond just sports washing, right? That's just one of the elements at play here. And experts say that this is all part of a broader effort to consolidate control over the global sports market so that Saudi Arabia can expand its economic and geopolitical influence. And when athletes, sporting organizations, and shareholders agree to take that Saudi money, it just concentrates more and more power into their hands. And if you didn't catch that deep dive, I'll link to it down below, but think of this as kind of like a part 2. Because now it seems like they're poised to do what they've been doing, but in the world of boxing. With us seeing sources telling multiple outlets that Saudi Arabia is in the final stages of approving a plan that would reshape the economic structure and even the very future of the sport. Specifically, the project would create a global pro boxing league, which is something that just doesn't exist now. In case you don't know the ins and outs of the boxing world, the sport is currently composed of multiple different governing organizations, all of which have their own rules for championship belts. But as reports explain, this new proposal would effectively create a single boxing entity that would replace the sometimes chaotic and frustrating system of dueling promoters and warring sanctioning bodies. And adding that the new entity would have the resources and the fighters to stage high-profile cards around the globe. And that single centralized body would be run by Saudi Arabia and financed by the country's massive sovereign public investment.
It would be kind of cool if all sports did that. It'd make it more interesting.
Investment Fund, or PIF, which notably has also been behind its other major sports investments. And as far as like how much money we're talking about here, sources told the Times that the initial investment alone could be as high as $2 billion. With a person familiar with the matter also telling Reuters that the new league itself could be valued between $4 and $5 billion. And as far as the specifics of the Saudi proposal, according to the Times, the league would sign around 200 of the top men's boxers around the globe and then divide them into 12 weight classes that include around 15 fighters each, with boxers then being able to rise in the ranking tables, but also get eliminated from the series and replaced with new talent. Which, you know, if you're familiar with MMA and specifically the UFC, that structure might sound familiar. You know, those similarities, it's not a coincidence. The UFC is immensely popular and it's been steadily chipping away at boxing's global pull. So it absolutely makes sense to draw from the UFC's successes in the space. You know, this makeover could breathe new life into boxing, with the Times explaining the sport has lost its luster and some of its allure in recent decades, with them going on to call out the disjointed system of sanctioning bodies that arrange different fights and titles, and arguing that this structure leaves fans to sift through a confusing system that frequently stymies meetings between the best boxers and one that boasts multiple champions in the same weight classes. And because the whole boxing industry is all tangled up in this complex web, the Saudi plan has the potential to restructure the entire market. Or for example, some of the top boxers currently have long-term contracts with promotion companies, and those promoters are often tied to certain TV networks. So to resolve that, sources say the PIF is considering making partial or possibly even full investments in some of the biggest promoters. Also reportedly, partnerships are being discussed with some of the largest traditional organizations in the space that control the rights to boxers and super valuable intellectual property. With this including old videos, results, title belts held by boxing giants like Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson. And so with all this, the big question now is, will we see Saudi Arabia throwing gobs of money at all the boxers like they have with other sports? Because again, we already know that Saudi money has upended the global sports economy, creating this sort of monopoly over many of the best players across numerous sporting events by offering these just insane money sign eyeball deals that no one else can compete with. Like for example, per Forbes, Cristiano Ronaldo has been the single highest paid athlete in the world for the last 2 years since striking a deal to play soccer for the Saudis, with him reportedly raking in estimated total earnings of $260 million, which is an all-time high for a soccer player. With the second highest paid athlete on the Forbes list also skyrocketing through the ranks thanks to Saudi cash. With that title going to golfer Jon Rahm, who notably shocked the sports world by joining Saudi-backed Live Golf back in December, with his estimated earnings now being at $218 million. With those two the only ones above $200 million, the third being Messi at $135 million, which is also actually really notable because Messi famously turned down an offer to join the Saudi League that some reports said was valued at $1.6 billion. So there, he's not the only one to turn down that offer. It's also been reported that Tiger Woods rejected a $700 to $800 million deal. Also, the word billion's been floated for names like LeBron and Mbappe. And you know, with this, you have a lot of people saying it is hard to turn down that just cartoonish amount of money. And already we've seen numerous major players in the boxing space indicate they have no issue taking Saudi money, which, you know, isn't surprising in general, but also because the country has been steadily wading into the boxing waters for years now. But the country actually hosted its first pro boxing match in September of 2018, notably notably just days before Jamal Khashoggi was murdered. A fact that isn't directly relevant, but is also an important and stark reminder of who we're talking about here. And while those matches, they initially started slowly, over the past 2 years or so, shit has absolutely exploded. I mean, it's essentially the capital of the boxing world now. And in what now feels like overnight, Saudi Arabia has become one of the single biggest destinations for the most important bouts with the most famous names in the game. And they get the attention economy. I mean, look back to February of 2023. They've used Saudi money and YouTuber boxing, with the Saudis now famously hosting a match between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. And the absolute treasure trove of money, influence, and views that is creator boxing, it paid off for the Saudis, with that match being described as the most hyped boxing event of 2023, with it not only getting tons of views and buzz, but I mean, you also saw massive names in the world of boxing showing up and making clear that Saudi Arabia is the future. With this including the likes of Deontay Wilder, the former world heavyweight boxing champ, who basically acted as a living, breathing ad for Saudi Arabia, doing press junkets and telling members of the media that the Middle East is where it's happening. And we've seen the likes of Mike Tyson and Jake Paul saying essentially the same. And while technically, you know, the league is in the early stages and it hasn't even officially been announced yet, based on what we're seeing, it seems all but kind of guaranteed. I mean, you even have UFC President Dana White telling reporters it's definitely possible that he will get involved with the anticipated Saudi league. And according to Kieran Mulvaney and Eric Raskin, two journalists who host a boxing podcast together, criticism of Saudi Arabia, it's died down in the field as the country has continued to shove more and more money down the industry's throat. And actually with that, there are already signs that Saudi Arabia is trying to sink its claws into the world of boxing media and control the narratives here. Those podcasters going on to say that they got a message from a branch of Saudi's PIF recruiting them to work for the editorial team of, quote, a new boxing venture in Saudi Arabia that will be reporting directly to His Excellency. And, you know, it's very unlikely they're the only ones getting those messages, with Raskin speculating. I wonder at this moment how close we're coming to the end of independent boxing journalism, which, you know, is a very interesting prospect because we're not only talking about Saudi Arabia maybe completely taking over the boxing industry, but also potentially making it so you can't get objective coverage discussing sports washing or criticism of an authoritarian country. Because again, by all accounts, boxing is a mess and it needs organization, it needs some sort of consolidation. It's also important to remember that this is a tool to control Saudi Arabia's image, to distract from what they want to distract from, because there's a lot of power in fun and games. And then, well, because you deserve it. And then, nearly 3 years after investors lost hundreds of millions of dollars in Hollywood's largest Ponzi scheme, its victims are still struggling to see any financial justice. But a big part of the reason I want to talk about this is that might actually change after City National Bank was hit with a $770 million lawsuit in late May. Right, and that lawsuit was brought by a court-appointed figure who was put in charge of Zach Horowitz's now defunct company, 1 in a Million Capital, both of which were central to the scam before being brought down in April of 2021. So here's how it all worked. Horowitz convinced people that 1 in a Million had unique licensing deals with Netflix, HBO, and Sony for Latin American movies. He'd then get money from investors to help facilitate the deal before paying them back out in a few months. But the problem with all that is that there were no real deals, and the money that he was then paying back out were from new investors signing up, aka textbook Ponzi scheme. But it didn't start out as Hollywood's largest Ponzi scheme or even seemingly as a scam. Right? Horowitz had wanted to be an actor for so long, but he was struggling in Hollywood under the name Zach Avery. So he had started 1 in a Million as a production studio with some colleagues, using a large inheritance from his rich stepfather in order to make independent films that he could star in, which, you know, is not of an unheard of thing. But it's usually done by established actors doing passion projects. But then things changed when Horowitz landed legitimate licensing and distribution deals for some Latin American movies, laying the groundwork for the entire scam. And so then we see in 2014, he turned to a Chicago-based college friend and former business partner, Jake Wonderland, for $37,000, promising Jake a $9,000 profit within 90 days. While that sounded too good to be true, Horowitz had all the paperwork lined up and it all checked out. So Wonderland jumps on board, and to his surprise, he gets the money on time. With things then just growing from there, with more family and friends signing up to take part in these licensing deals. And I mean, it was outrageously successful. So much so that the initial core of investors out in Chicago had to start their own business to handle just their end of the money. And for years, things were just smooth sailing, and anytime anyone had a question, Horowitz was there with answers. You wanted to see paperwork, he had it. You wanted to talk to someone at one of the companies that he was working with, he could set that up. He just had one golden rule: never directly contact HBO, Sony, or Netflix, saying that there were some strict NDAs and warned that if you guys go around me, you're gonna blow up my business. And by 2019, Horowitz wasn't moving around tens of thousands of dollars. Instead, he brought in $358 million that year alone. But unfortunately for him, things started to fall apart around Thanksgiving when he missed his first payment ever. Because as we see in pretty much every Ponzi scheme, there are only so many people you can scam. And for Horowitz, the whole word of mouth that he relied on to get new customers, that was drying up. And so through that holiday season, Horowitz is facing scrutiny and questions. But the biggest confrontation came on January 4th of 2020 when Wonderland and another OG investor went to Horowitz's home for answers, because they were owed $165 million by this point. And as always, case, Horowitz was as cool as a cucumber. He showed them documents and contracts and bank statements to prove it all. But then COVID hitting and the Ponzi scheme just getting further and further behind on payments. With then lawyers getting involved with threats of lawsuits from various
Holy shit.
investors. With then, at the end of February of 2020, the dominoes really falling. With Wonderland and another deciding to break Horowitz's golden rule and call one of the companies that Horowitz was allegedly working with directly. And in this case, it was at the account management firm Freeway Entertainment, which is where Horowitz claimed that the money that was owed to investors was piling up. And while speaking with a representative, Wonderland gave an account number only to then be told that account number did not exist. And not only that, there were no accounts associated with Horowitz, which is when Wonderland realized, oh, this whole situation's fucked. And by that afternoon, the Chicago Group's lawyers contacted the FBI. Though also, even if they hadn't, the FBI was going to be on to Horowitz soon enough because you had other investors coming to similar conclusions. All of this leading to 2 weeks later, Wonderland making another call to Horowitz, though this time the FBI was listening in. And again, Horowitz was calm, explaining his normal BS about the deals and where the money actually was before Wonderland got impatient and said, here's the problem with that. That's not fucking true. We spoke to Freeway. There's no money in that account. Where in the fuck is our money? And after a long pause, Horowitz replied, I think the lawyers should do the talking. And unsurprisingly, Horowitz started getting super paranoid and his LA friends noticed. Now his wife just assumed that it was because he had trouble getting money from HBO or Netflix. She apparently didn't know about the scheme. Which, is something that should be noted, because despite having multiple business partners, apparently only Horowitz was involved and knew about the Ponzi scheme. But either way, at this point, Horowitz had even started to talk about leaving LA and they put their house on the market. Them set to accept an offer on April 6th when they were woken up by the FBI at their door yelling for Horowitz. And in total, he was facing...
I mean, how do people... No, I mean, I guess I know how, but it just shows, man. Just like when I was saying, hey, these people have a price. It's like this greed, and for some reason, when you check certain boxes, you can just get away with murder, and these people are like, it's all their fault. They're the villain. They're the, and it's like, but come on, why were you so inclined to go along with this for so long? Let it get that far. Oh.
13 counts of fraud for his Ponzi scheme, which had raised more than $690 million over the years. Though notably, in 2021, he managed to cut a deal where he pled guilty to just a single count of fraud and was sentenced to 20 years in 2022. And so with this, the courts have appointed someone to take over $1 in a million capital to try and get the roughly $230 million owed to his victims. And, not for scamming purposes, but I wish I had an ounce of the confidence these scammers have. Because, when you look at this situation, it is crazy how he was able to get away with all this despite how many red flags were all over the place for so long. It goes way back to before he even moved to LA and was living in Chicago. In the early 2010s, he had hit up Wonderland to come help him with his health-focused restaurant called Fuel. And at the time, Wonderland was working at JP Morgan. And he only decided to come because Horowitz convinced him that he had a meeting with Howard Schultz and his venture capital firm Mavron and was looking at $30 million. Which, if that name rings a bell, it's because he's the CEO who made Starbucks what it is today, and Mavron specializes in up-and-coming food brands. With Wonderland even getting an email for Schultz that said, I have faith in you, your team has faith in you. Be the person that you have always dreamed of becoming, Jake, and all the rest will fall into place. And actually, it was even better than that because there was another private equity firm competing with Mavron to invest. But then suddenly, the deal collapsed and Fuel went out of business within a year. And there never seemed to be a good reason why it all happened, although, ironically, one of the reasons was that Horowitz was allegedly having private investment issues because he claimed his money guy was involved in a Ponzi scheme. But regardless, Horowitz then lied to everyone, including his wife, and said that despite Mavron not investing...
The good news, Horowitz said, was that Schultz had offered him a job at Mavron, his venture capital firm. Mallory later recalled that he showed her a contract for a position at the firm's entrepreneur outreach program based in Los Angeles. It would be perfect, he told her. He would visit campus small business communities cultivating young strivers. He did not mention that the move would also allow him to pursue his dream of being a star.
Into Fuel, they wanted to bring him onto a job in LA, so that's where they moved. Also, to be clear, there was no gig with Mavron, and he never knew Schultz. With this whole move seemed to be for Horowitz's own ego because he clearly wanted to be an actor. And so within months of moving, he bitched about his new so-called job and started to land roles with almost no success. With this actually being one of the reasons he even started $1 in a million capital. And it was actually his Ponzi scheme's initial successes that let him get bigger and bigger acting roles, including being alongside Olivia Munn and Brian Cox. That actually just added to his red flag and bigger acting roles, including being alongside Olivia Munn. and Brian Cott.
Oh, Zach Avery. Bruce Dern, Olivia Munn.
That actually just added to his red flags, because if anyone had just done a little amount of digging, they would have seen how easily Horowitz lied. Right? Like when he and his PR team claimed that Fuel was actually a successful brand with multiple locations, saying they even had products and outlets like Target being sold for tens of millions, which again, lies, lies, lies. Now, notably, some people did raise their eyebrows at all this, but they'd end up getting talked down by others because, you know, well, everyone was making money. Right? Even those who seemingly should have known better, they were blinded by the prospect of making so much money.
So this dude was even landing acting roles through the... Oh my God. People just get blinded by dollars.
Thing that would have properly been flagged if people had done their due diligence were the contracts that Horowitz was using. Apparently, they were just copy-pasted from a few legit contracts that he managed to find online, them then just finding the signatures of Hollywood executives on LinkedIn and then forging them. He also faked all the emails and texts, I mean, everything with apps that could spoof that information. Right? Like that inspirational email that Wonderland got from Starbucks Schultz, completely fake. But, you know, the average investor not noticing the contracts looking similar, that's believable. But what's not, that City National Bank would ignore all these signs, and that's according to a recent lawsuit brought by the court-appointed receiver of 1 in a Million Capital. In 2013, they'd initially given Horowitz a $1.14 million line of credit from his mom's brokerage account as leverage. And then, when the Ponzi's money started flowing in, they increased it 456 different times to $64.2 million. And on at least one occasion, a bank employee had flagged some suspicious activity on the account. Right? Notably, there was just a crazy amount of cash coming in and out of it all the time. But Horowitz complained to the account manager, who assured him that it was just routine and that it wouldn't happen again. And according to the suit, the bank was willing to ignore clear problems like the large cash transfers all the time because they were so eager to make money off of the interest from his line of credit as well as sell him other services. But for now, I mean, we're gonna have to wait to see what happens. Right? Will any of the victims see any of their money? Will City National face any kind of government regulation if what's in the lawsuit ends up being true? Who knows? But if there is a lesson here, and it's a hard lesson to stick to, but it's an oldie for a reason, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. But that, my friends, is the end of today's Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning dive into the news. Of course, I'd love to know any and all thoughts you had on the things we talked about today that stood out to you. But either way, I just want to say I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Man.